Earlier this year, my 32 male brother, 35 male, came to me and asked me for a loan. He told me his house needed a new roof, but he didn't have the money for it. My brother has never asked me for money before. He has a job and is not a deadbeat or anything. I didn't even hesitate to give him the loan. He asked me not to tell anyone, including his wife, because he was embarrassed and he promised he would pay me back. The roof on his house was fixed, and I told him to take his time paying me back because we always had a good relationship and my brother had always been stable, and it never crossed my mind he could be lying to me. Once, when I was in college, he loaned me money to get my car fixed when it broke down, and he didn't hesitate, and I paid him back once I found a summer job a couple of months later. A few months later, he asked me for money again. He had been laid off from his job and had found another job, which was only 3/4 of the pay, and he said he needed it. Once again, I did not hesitate. In November, just before Thanksgiving, my sister-in-law, 35 female, filed for divorce from my brother after 10 years of marriage. My brother had an affair with a woman he worked with. She got pregnant, and her boyfriend found out about the affair and the baby. He told her to choose between him and my brother. My brother and her decided to end the affair, not tell my sister-in-law, and she married her boyfriend, and her and the boyfriend passed the kid off as his and didn't tell either of their families. My brother had told me and everyone else, including his wife, there were layoffs coming at the end of the year. But really, he found another job so he could get away from his former affair partner. His wife told the court she had just found out about the affair and the baby and filed not long after. There's no way to prove it, and it doesn't really matter. But privately, she admitted she knew about the affair and was going to leave, but once it ended, she decided to wait until the other woman married her boyfriend and my brother took a lower-paying job. She outed the affair to our family and the other woman's family and the people they used to work with. The other woman knew my brother was married, and he knew she had a boyfriend. She has filed for a divorce from my brother and is suing the other woman. His wife has all kinds of photos, emails, texts, and receipts, and there is no way to deny the affair or that my brother is the father of her kid. She has gone no contact with him and told him to talk to her lawyer. When my brother told me he needed money to get the roof fixed, he used the money I loaned him to buy the other woman jewelry. When he told me he got laid off and had to take a job with lower pay because he couldn't afford to be unemployed, he really had quit his job to get away from the other woman once the affair ended. There is proof he lied, and he admitted it. He didn't ask anyone else for money, parents, friends, etc., except for me, and I was stupid enough to believe him. He is in trouble with his divorce because of the affair and the baby, but also because he used his wife's pay and money from their joint account to buy stuff for the other woman, and he hid these expenses from his wife. Now he wants me to lend him money to pay his divorce lawyer or a possible settlement to his wife, and also for a family lawyer because he has applied for sharing custody with his kid now that the affair is public knowledge. The other woman is angry about being outed and sued, and she is now asking for child support since my brother was named as the biological father and put on the birth certificate. He wants me to lend him money for the divorce lawyer, family lawyer, and child support. I've been saving to buy an engagement ring and propose to my girlfriend. Our second anniversary is in 5 days, and I was planning on proposing to her then. But now that 1/3 of the ring money is gone, I am putting it off because I can't afford as nice of a ring as I would like. My parents, cousins, and friends think I should just buy a ring and propose anyways because they know I want to propose. I am mad at my brother because he lied to me and now wants me to lend him money again. My parents are mad at him too because he cheated on his wife and lied to me about why he needed loans. If I had known, I obviously never would have given him my ring money. How should I approach things with my brother going forward? I am angry about this whole situation. Thank you for any advice or just encouragement. No, I'm not giving you a third loan while the first 2 haven't been paid back. There is no need to tell him yet that you will not give him a third loan once he has paid you back. He'll figure that out then. Also, regarding the ring, include your girlfriend in the ring shopping. Your current budget could very well be enough for the ring she wants. Some background information. We've been together for about a year. We live in Germany. The mother and the child live in Italy. We take pandemics seriously, but the rules have relaxed a lot since May, and our healthcare providers aren't as stretched thin as in other countries. My boyfriend usually spends 2 weekends a month with the child. Let's call her Marie. He has a guest room at the mom's. Let's call her Paula, 34 female, home. They met in 2017, conceived on the 3rd date, had Marie, and tried to be a team from that point on. They couldn't be together because they fought all the time. The relationship was unhealthy for both parties. Boyfriend is in therapy to help him deal with this. With pandemic, he couldn't go to Italy from March until May with the whole uncertainties of health hazards. But he made an effort to talk to Marie on video call every day. He would do this in front of me if I happened to be with him when Paula called. Fast forward to end of May. Marie had her 2nd birthday in June, so boyfriend asked Paula about birthday plans and that he wanted to come. Paula said boyfriend could come if he would quarantine himself for 2 weeks, not meeting anyone, including me. Boyfriend tried to explain that we were at that time already squarely in the same bubble, and it was an unreasonable request. I was willing to quarantine with him. At the time, we were both working from home. Paula thought I was too risky or unsafe, and she was working under the guise of protecting Marie and her grandparents. In one particularly unpleasant video call, she actually asked boyfriend to show her around his apartment, and I had to sneak out. Boyfriend was afraid he was going to lose the visits if he didn't comply. I was deeply hurt at his inability to set boundaries, mixed up with my confusion, and that deep down I started to blame him for having this child with this woman. I myself came from a patchwork family, but one where everyone respects and are friendly with each other. For example, my mom and my dad's ex-wife would go on trips together, sans spouses. So this toxicity was new to me. My first thought was that Paula was jealous of me because I'm spending more time with boyfriend, but then again, they weren't together before Marie. Plus, she was already dating another man. Anyway, boyfriend and I pretended to be separated for about 3 days. Then he put his foot down and finally told Paula that we would not quarantine separately. And then he left for Italy. The night after the birthday party, he told me that it was a proper kiddie party. Friends outside of the bubble were invited to Paula's apartment. One of the presents was a harmonica, and the adults present took turns playing it. Boyfriend and I were proper pissed off at this point. So much for quarantine. In July, boyfriend brought it up with Paula that on his next visit, he wanted to rent a hotel room or a B&B and take me along so I could meet them, which we both thought was proper after slightly over 1 year of being together. Paula disagreed, citing pandemic. Boyfriend gave up trying to argue. Lo and behold, when boyfriend arrived at her apartment, he was greeted by 2 people from Airbnb who had spent the night in the room that boyfriend was supposed to sleep in that night. Fast forward to now. Boyfriend and Paula decided to take Marie on a beach holiday. I brought it up with boyfriend that I wanted to be invited. I see myself as a cool-headed person. I'm not worried they were going to have an affair behind my back, but them going on a holiday as if they're a happy family, that they never were, irked me a lot. Paula agreed, as long as we don't behave like a couple, so as not to confuse Marie. But seeing mommy and daddy happily together on a holiday before daddy leaves and mommy's boyfriend comes again is not confusing? In the end, I had a work trip in another city anyway, and I was spared the headache of how not to behave like a couple. What does it mean? Not sharing a room? Not sitting on the same table? Not holding hands? Not talking to each other in German because mommy would feel left out? Now I'm getting tired of these antics. I try to be cool-headed, not take it personally, but it's hard and it hurts. What also hurts is my boyfriend's compliance and what I perceive as his failure of setting up boundaries with her. Does anyone else have experiences like this? What helped them move on? Because I do envision a long-term relationship with boyfriend. Most of the advice I saw on the internet are for divorced parents, or if the new girlfriend was the reason the parents broke up in the first place. These don't apply to me. I think what I have is a nice guy, TM, who tries to make everyone happy, but in the process forgets how to be a good boyfriend to me. It hurt when he hid me from the video call. It hurt that he didn't think of asking me about this holiday before it was decided. And a mother who has her own problems wants to be in a position of power and doesn't respect me as a person with feelings and intellects. Help! In the moment, it was probably easier for your people-pleaser boyfriend to ask you to help him out than to confront this woman, who basically has the power to completely take his child away from him. I don't really understand why they don't have any legal custody agreement in place, and I think your boyfriend should look into that so that Paula can't just withhold access to Mary according to her whims. But it might be more difficult given they live in different countries. So I've posted here before about my soon-to-be ex-wife and our troubles with her potentially having an affair with a member of her CrossFit gym. Long story short, it's not going to work out, and we are filing for divorce. The trust has been completely shattered, and therapy and counseling have not helped us regain anything that we have lost. But that's not the point of this post. During one of the few somewhat good periods of our relationship since we married, my wife was actually staying in our home with me instead of with her family. During this time, we did have a few times. Because of my concerns about her possible infidelity, I wanted to use protection, and most of the time we did, except for once. We had run out of protection, and in the heat of the moment, we both decided to go forward with the deed anyway. Big mistake. This was probably 3 or 4 months ago. My wife is on a form of IUD birth control and has been since before we married. Now, I'm no birth control expert, but I do know that some of these IUDs have some potential risks regarding still getting pregnant, and if that happens, then some other issues can occur, such as infertility. Since I don't want this to get too long, either during the one time we didn't use a condom or during the potential affair, she got pregnant and must have had a miscarriage very early in the pregnancy. She says she missed one period and then had a very, very heavy period with bad cramps the next month and didn't really think anything of it. Well, about 2 weeks ago, she was having really bad cramps again and went to her doctor. They told her that she had gotten pregnant and had a miscarriage, and that's what the bleeding and cramps were from. But since it was so early in the pregnancy, she wasn't showing any other signs of being pregnant. They did some other tests to confirm this, and after those tests, her doctor informed her that because of her IUD, this pregnancy and miscarriage might have caused her to become infertile. Now, I'm heartbroken for many reasons here. Not only is our marriage ending, but all of this, on top of it, is pushing us both to a breaking point. I am in individual therapy to try and help get through this. But as far as I know, she isn't seeking the same kind of help, even though it is available to her. Instead, she is directing all of her pain and anger at me. She is completely blaming me for everything now. The marriage failing, the pregnancy, the miscarriage, her potential infertility, all of it. She says she's going to sue me for making her infertile. Not that I believe that's even possible, but it still sucks. I understand that she's taking this really hard, but I feel like I'm her emotional punching bag right now. I asked her if she knew that her IUD had these kinds of risks, and she just said that she never thought it would actually happen to her, and that it was like 95% effective anyway, so she didn't think it was an issue. Since we are in the process of getting a divorce, talking to lawyers about splitting assets and all that fun stuff, I don't really want to have much contact with her right now, and my lawyer has actually advised me to avoid contact whenever possible. Either she isn't getting the same advice or is completely ignoring it, because she blows my phone up almost daily with vitriolic and hateful texts blaming me for all her problems, completely ignoring the fact that her actions are what led up to our divorce in the first place. I want to completely go no contact until the divorce is finalized, block her everywhere I can, and ignore the situation until our divorce is complete. But for some godforsaken reason, I struggle with that idea. My therapist says it's because I possibly still have feelings for her and that it's natural to still want to protect her and fix problems because of the history of our relationship. I agree with that, but that doesn't really help. So instead of blocking her, I pretty much just don't respond to her messages. But I can't help myself from reading them no matter how hurtful to me they are. I have to call nonsense on your soon-to-be ex. I highly doubt that a doctor told her that she's likely infertile after having a miscarriage with an IUD in place. Mainly because the risk of infertility with IUDs comes from the risk of having an ectopic pregnancy and/or the IUD perforating the uterus. It doesn't sound like that was the case here, unless she had surgery that she failed to tell you about. Doctors don't duck around with ectopic pregnancy, as it can quickly kill a woman. She would have gone through a lot more than a simple office visit if she had a pregnancy miscarriage with IUD complications that would result in infertility. I literally have first-hand experience with getting pregnant with an IUD. I had to endure a battery of tests and scans and a surgical procedure, and that was all while I was miscarrying. My doctors weren't like, "Oh, looks like you're having a miscarriage. By the way, you might be infertile now. Bye." Sounds like she was tired of being the bad guy and lamely attempted to flip the script on you. She's lying to try to deflect the marriage breakdown onto you. I suspect this isn't the first time she's tried to blame things on you. I bet money you heard lots of, "You were always working, you never paid attention," or some variation. It's all BS. She's just making crap up to guilt you. Redirect her to your lawyer and make sure they have all the abusive texts she's been harassing you with. I'm sorry you're going through this. Good luck. It will get better soon, believe me.